Recently, I took on the challenge of others only for mage weapons. It was difficult, limiting pre-hard mode to only one singular weapon. Well, I'm gonna do it again. Only this time, I'm doing it with melee weapons. With only 14 weapons to offer, once again, only one of them is available in pre-hard mode, the Terragrim. Some of you may not even know this weapon exists, and that's because it's a 1 in 50 chance of dropping from an enchanted sword shrine. It is incredibly unlikely to find this weapon. So let's go find it. So I start off on a master mode large world, and all I gotta do is just travel to the edge of the world. I loot a bit along the way, but I'm not allowing myself to use any weaponry until I get the Terragrim. So I'm just traversing my way around these enemies, trying our best to not take any damage. I did manage to find an enchanted sword shrine on the left side of the world. I broke it and got an enchanted sword. That's about what I expected. Now on large worlds, there is an average of 1.71 enchanted sword shrines that spawn. There is a 10% chance that none will even spawn on your world, but 35% of the time there will be 2 enchanted sword shrines in a large world, so we gotta look for that second one. But I actually decided to go into the underground desert. I managed to get a bar statue and some Dune Rider boots, but that's not actually what we're after. We're after the magic conch. The magic conch will make it a lot easier to go from ocean to ocean to get these enchanted sword shrines. But getting this magic conch wasn't without its trials. I died time and time again trying to find it, and in some random desert chest, I finally got the magic conch. I've now been playing for over an hour. So I go straight to the ocean and actually managed to find an enchanted sword shrine down here, and I get the enchanted sword again. But there is a 17.86% chance that 3 sword shrines will spawn. And in this little pocket of water, I actually managed to find one, and we get another enchanted sword. But I kept exploring from the right ocean left, and I saw this column of empty blocks. So I dug down, and that's 4 for 4 enchanted swords. We actually got the 3.57% chance of 4 enchanted sword shrines in a world, which is crazy, but no Terragrim. There's no chance of any more enchanted sword shrines in this world, and you cannot get the Terragrim any other way. So what I decided to do was create a new world, but with the exact same seed of my original world. That means I know exactly where the enchanted sword shrines are, and I'm technically not making new worlds every time. It's the same world, and all I'm gonna do is go straight for the enchanted sword. I'm not gonna loot anywhere else. And enchanted sword after enchanted sword, I was striking out. It was taking forever, grinding the same world over and over, knowing exactly where the enchanted sword was, until this happened. I got it. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking schmickin' go, dude. That took about 30-ish sword shrines, so it's definitely under the amount that you would expect. So I'll take that. So now we have our first and only pre-hard mode weapon, but luckily for us, this weapon is actually pretty dang good. I will say that much, especially pre-boss. This thing just tears apart the mobs. But with my Terragrim, I went back to the original world that I started on and created a little house. And I mean, I just did the obvious now. I farmed life crystals, platinum, gold chests to get all the loot that I could to gear up, and I found a gravity potion, and I used that to search some sky islands, managing to get fledgling wings and a shiny red balloon in the first chest. So that's pretty epic. We got freaking wings, baby. I keep searching through the mines and finally get a full 400 HP, and I actually heard that the Brain of Cthulhu fight is really easy. I've heard it's one of the best weapons for the brain. So I actually went and put down my bar statue and campfire in the underground crimson and just attempted the brain. I'm just gonna fight it straight up before any other boss. If this weapon's good enough, let's rush it. And holy crap, once those creepers are bunched up, it does crazy damage to those creepers. Holy, we are mincing these eyeballs. Honestly, this is one of the best weapons I've used against the brain. And now all the creepers are dead and it's just the brain. But I heard that all I have to do is stand still and swing this thing, and that's it. So that's what I did, but I found out quickly that I do actually have to aim it, or it'll just hit me. But if I'm aiming it, I can just stand still, and the knockback just keeps it at bay completely. But eventually, once they started to get opaque, I couldn't tell which one was which, and that's when it started to fall out the window. So yeah, it wasn't actually as easy as I thought it would be. I had to actually aim it at the right one. Oh gosh. Oh frick. I'm 30 health. No! 100 health left. Frick. It was so close, dude. I threw it. And I thought to myself, at least I'm not using a crimson rod this time. So I went at it again, destroying these creepers, although I did rack up some damage and got the broken armor debuff, so I need to be careful now. But once all the creepers were defeated, it was just the brain, and it's no problem until they started to become opaque. But this time I was actually managing to not get hit very much, only getting hit a few times, and there it is, Bone of Cthulhu defeated as our first boss. Then the goblin army arrived, and you'd think that this would be pretty easy with the Terragrim because it can just slice through all of them. I mean, this weapon's aura, it should be able to defeat some stupid goblins. And while this weapon is very cool, it couldn't really stand a chance against goblin archers. Those arrows hurt a lot, but I still managed to tear through the invasion, only dying one time. Rigged. I then very painstakingly drained the lava in my elevator to make it to hell. Now that we're here, I needed to get a fire blossom to make an obsidian skin potion and then just jump into the lava and do a gamer mowing session of hellstone. And I switched out my tungsten armor for molten armor. So now with all this defense, I took on the Eye of Cthulhu. This shouldn't be hard, right? I mean, I beat this with a crimson rod recently and I have molten armor. I'm doing decent damage, although the Eye of Cthulhu likes to space himself out from me, so it's pretty hard to get close enough to him. So yeah, the DPS is actually pretty low, but eventually the Eye of Cthulhu is in second phase, dashing around at me, so I get a bit more damage in every now and then. But once he does the really fast dashes, I mean, it's hard to hit him, and I'm taking some big damage. He's below 1,000 health now, and I'm down at the hundreds of health, but I do get a heal off. I'm just hoping that I do enough damage before dying. This fight's actually pretty hard. He's dashing very rapidly and unpredictably, but we do just scrape by a win against the Eye of Cthulhu. I'm gonna be real, that was honestly harder than the brain. I then found the shimmer and made some permanent upgrades. I did an epic gamer fishing session, fishing for crimson fish in the enchanted sword shrine, where this all started, and then it starts raining slime. Now the king slime actually might be difficult, considering I have to get really close to him, and he can do some big damage, and he's just so big. But if I do the right movements, I can get some damage in. It's just these little slimes on the floor that are messing up my rhythm. But yeah, overall, not too bad. It gets smaller over time, which does make it easier, but also harder because it's faster. But yeah, with no real issues, King Slime defeated. But that wasn't the boss I was planning on doing next. The boss I was planning on is actually found in the underground jungle, where I found a sharpening station to increase the armor penetration of my Terragrim, which is Ruthless modifier now, which is one of its best modifiers, but it doesn't give crit strike chance, which Demonic and Godly do. I then hollowed out a hive, making an arena for the Queen Bee. Now this one shouldn't be too hard. It does dash around, but it has those phases where it just stands still, and that's when I do insane damage to her. Like, her health bar just drops when she's standing still. I just gotta wait for that window, and sometimes it takes a while, but she does eventually do it, and we're just racking up that damage. The great thing is she stands still for a set time frame, not according to how much damage you do, so you can rack up that damage and she'll just keep sitting there. But it is kind of random, so it's up to luck. But yeah, it's going really well. We are turning this bee into a fine, nice dust, and that's the Queen Bee down, and that only gets us the Witch Doctor, which allows us to make flasks to make our Terragrim do damage over time. And now it's time to fight Skeletron. This one I'm hoping I can beat this time. I did skip it last playthrough because the Crimson Rod, I just was struggling too much to beat Skeletron, and the Terragrim was destroying his hands, absolutely melting them. I was taking some hits here and there just to get close enough to hit those hands. It's hard not to get hit with the Terragrim. Maybe it's a skill issue, but I was just taking those hits to deal damage, and very quickly the hands are down and it's just the skull. Now this was kind of a difficult task. Getting close enough to the skull while it's not in the spinning phase was proving to be a pretty hard task. The real time when I can do some damage is when he's spinning his skull, but I have to get dangerously close, and at one point I got hit 3 times in a row because of how close I was getting. It's a really fine line between doing damage and getting hit, and it's not exactly easy to maintain that speed. And I also have to time when I get away from him to not get hit by a homing skull. He's getting lower on health, but so am I, but there's plenty of time left in the night. I can just stall it out a bit, heal up, it's fine. I do get back up to a nice healthy amount. Now I can be a bit more reckless, do some big damage, and towards the end of the fight I do a really risky move to finish him off, but it wasn't quite enough and I've taken some big damage. I wait till he starts spinning and I finish him off. So this time we were able to beat Skeletron. I don't get much from it. I am able to get an alchemy table, which is always always helpful. And not before long, I've acquired a shadow key and the cobalt shield. So after looting some shadow chests, I clear out a big area for the wall of flesh. I'm just digging, making sure I have lots of space for this, getting rid of these obsidian houses in the way, and leaving room for a funnel, which I may have to take out of retirement just for this playthrough. After an hour and a half of clearing all this out, a blood moon rises. I farm all the enemies I can, but I don't manage to get a shark tooth necklace or a money trough. So back to the wall of flesh bridge. I'm not sure how long this has to be, so I'm making it pretty dang long. I'm expecting I'm gonna need a lot of space here. I also make the platform 3 blocks wide just to do like a mini funnel. And after 3 hours of building this bridge, I spawned in the wall of flesh. I'm fully buff and it starts off not too great. I mean, the hungry are just kind of doing damage, but I mean, it's the start of the fight, so they don't do as much damage as they could. But that's what's concerning, is that we're at this stage of the fight and I'm half dead just from doing some damage to the wall. It's really hard to maintain the right speed to hit the wall, and it is not in the right spot I want it to be. So I'm just getting pantsed here, and I end up dying long before the wall of flesh is even close to dead. After that embarrassing performance, I buckled, man. I'm going back to my old ways. I'm making a funnel. We're already partly there, so why not finish it off? So that's exactly what I did, and boy, it felt good. The funnel's back, baby. It was like visiting an old friend. Oh my gosh, the memories. I used some dirt bombs to finish off the top of the funnel, and it kind of occurred to me how big this funnel is. It's really big, so we have plenty of space. And now with a proper funnel in place, I decided to actually fight it without the blocks in between that block the lasers, and holy crap, I got even more destroyed than last time, because I have to get so close to it, and it's really hard to maintain that distance without getting hit. I tried it again, and this time was better. I did get him to under half health, but I mean, I was just racking up damage, and at this point, I thought this might not be possible. The Terragrim is so hard, at least with pickaxe only, which was a similar challenge to this. I had a bit more range than this. I tried it again, but once again, I was just like inside the wall, taking damage constantly. I dropped my honey and tried to get it back and died in the process. So that's it. I'm building the blocks in between to block those lasers, which took a long time, but now we've got the classic funnel back. Obviously no dart traps or anything because there's no imps spawning. It's not for the worthy. I haven't had to do a funnel in master mode since pickaxe only. And I finally finish off the funnel, but there's one thing I'm missing, and I think it will be really integral to our strategy: the minecart tracks. Now, the reason I wasn't using it before is because if you're on a minecart track, you can't really jump, and that just leaves you to get lasered the whole fight. But now that the lasers are blocked, we can use the minecart track to maintain a steady pace, which is really important for this fight. Maintaining the same speed allows me to not have to walk into the wall to do damage, and I can just speed it up a little bit when the wall speeds up a little bit. So let's give it a try. Maybe it'll work this time. We've got the full-on funnel, and it seems to be working really well. The hungry are dying really quickly. The wall is fully funneled into this. No lasers are hitting me at all. I'm taking no damage at all, and I'm maintaining that speed. I'm able to hit the wall and not get hit in the process. It's working an absolute treat. Maintaining that speed, just barely not getting hit, and speeding up as the wall speeds up. It's now under half health. It's getting faster. I have to adjust constantly to make sure I'm not inside the wall. I'm doing it perfectly. It does speed up really drastically towards the end, but I do get a heal off. It's really low, really fast. I take a big hit, but it's dead. And look at the size of my funnel compared to what I needed. I did not expect to beat it that quickly. My funnel was literally 4 times bigger than it needed to be. I wasted 5 hours of my life building this thing when I only needed to build a quarter of it. So I should have been happy in this moment. You know, I just beat the wall of flesh with the Terragrim only, but I was just annoyed that I wasted so much time, and I need you guys to know this. I need to say this for the video so that it wasn't a complete waste of time, as long as there's like a little bit of comedic aspect to it. Because if I say it into the universe and you guys hear it, then it wasn't for nothing. It was for the video. I didn't waste hours of my life. life. Okay, anyway, we beat the wall of flesh. I shimmered the emblem to get the warrior emblem. And you may be wondering, what is the first weapon I'm going to get in hard mode? It has opened up a lot of options, but it's definitely not as many options as Mage Other had. This one is 100% harder in hard mode than Mage was. I then shimmered the titanium that I collected and made adamantite armor. And the first weapon I actually obtained under the other section on melee was the jousting lance, which is sold by the zoologist. Now, the plain old jousting lance isn't great. It doesn't do big damage. It's quite mediocre unless you get some fast speed. But honestly, for the most part, the Terragrim did more damage. I then spawned in a blood moon to get spawn rates up to farm mimics, and now I get a shark tooth necklace. And I didn't get what I wanted, but eventually I did get the cross necklace, one of my favorite accessories in this game. It's so broken. I then went to the outer third of the map looking for goblin scouts, and after a lot of sleeping on the outer third, I got enough tattered cloth to make the goblin battle standard, spawned in the goblins, and what I'm looking for is the goblin warlock. Now, to fight this thing, I actually used the Terragrim, not the jousting lance. To be honest, it actually was pretty good against it because it does stand still for a prolonged period, and the first one I killed dropped the shadow flame knife, which I am able to use. That is a melee other. That's why I did this whole thing. And the shadow flame knife, honestly, it's a pretty good melee weapon. It doesn't dish out the most insane damage ever. You're not gonna get big numbers, but it's consistent and it's ranged, which is funny because it's a melee weapon. But being able to attack from a range for the first time in this playthrough is actually really nice. I reforged it to demotic, and that's a pattern you will see throughout this video. Basically, every single weapon in this run can't be reforged to legendary. I think with the exception of 2 weapons. Now with my new weapon, I decided to farm some wyverns, and then it rained slime again, so I had to defeat this slime bowl again. But next on my agenda was to make wings, so I went over to the Hallow, murdering the entire pixie populace, and for some reason, invasions just keep happening. Now it's the pirates. So I made a box for myself and just threw these knives upwards, and this actually cleared them out very easily. The only thing that even threatened me was the pirate captain with his ghost, but as long as I moved once that spawned, we were fine. And the Terragrim was actually doing some pretty decent work against these enemies. I'll be real, this weapon's not even bad going into hard mode. I did defeat a flying Dutchman. The way I killed it was a little cheesy, but we don't talk about that. And then I beat another one with the same tactic, and I actually got a discount card and the black spot mount. Now, I don't usually get this at a point of progression where I could use it, so I'm actually gonna put it to good use. It's an infinite flight mount very early on in hard mode. Knowing what weapons I need to get in the future, I made a mob farm in the caverns and placed a bunch of Crimtane blocks, which for now allows me to farm Souls of Night, which I do need right now. And with these Souls of Nights, I farmed some Crimson Mimics. This wasn't a necessary grind. I was just hoping for Flesh Knuckles, just kind of to min-max my defense, but I was not getting it. I had to kill so many Crimson Mimics, and it was just getting ridiculous. I took a quick detour and made an artificial corruption biome, spawned in the Eater of Worlds, and got the Worm Scarf, and then went back to spawning in the Crimson Mimics. The amount of fetid bagnacks and dart pistols I've gotten is insane. I hate this loot pool. Finally, though, I get the Flesh Knuckles, just to min-max my defense because I don't need, like, boots and wings, so I have space for all these accessories. And yes, I did get that one pair of Flesh Knuckles, which I turned into a Berserker's Glove, but I want 2. I want to replace my booties with the second pair of Flesh Knuckles, and luckily this time I get the second pair very quickly. So now with my min-maxed accessory build, I spawned in the twins, and the black spot with the Shadow Flame Knife seems to be doing really good work. I mean, I can keep my distance, infinite flight, I can just go up and down, and the Shadow Flame Knife has its range to it, so I don't even have to go close to him. I'm just holding down left click and aiming it at him and going up and down, left and right, and just kiting them. Pretty quickly, Spasmatism is in second phase. This is what I was worried about, Spasmatism and him closing the distance with his dashes, but surprisingly, the black spot was doing pretty well. I did get hit once, but his spewing didn't actually end up landing on me. On the next set of dashes, I did bait him so that he was up above me, and at this point is really low. He does another set of dashes, ends up hitting me, but dashes away from me once again, so the spewing isn't even close to me, and Spasmatism is defeated. Now it's just Retinazer, and this is simple. This is easy. I keep throwing my knives. Retinazer is now in second phase. With the black spot, I can outpace these lasers. They're missing me most of the time. I am occasionally getting hit here and there, but it doesn't do that much damage. And there it is, the twins defeated. With the twins defeated, I can make a new weapon, and that's the Hallowed Jousting Lance. This one is essentially the Jousting Lance, but just better. It does more damage. But I did spawn in the Destroyer next, and with the Hallowed hallowed lance, I used the momentum in my black spot to sweep in and do big damage to the clumped up destroyer. And I just kept going back and forth, and because of its piercing abilities, I chunked out almost half of its health. Now I just gotta kill those probes with the Shadow Flame Knife. Once I've taken them out, I pull out the hallowed jousting lance again, hug the segments of the destroyer, and just rack up that damage to it. It's actually impressive, and I can maintain the distance with the black spot. I didn't expect the hallowed jousting lance to be this good. It's actually pretty freaking good with regular movement. I'm not even cheesing this. This is just regular black spot movement going along the destroyer's segments, and in no time, the destroyer is no more. I spawned a destroyer in again, defeating it pretty easily just to get enough hallowed bars to make some hallowed armor. There's actually a weapon I can get from the old one's army, but considering I can't use any of the sentries, this proved to be very hard. And of course, it's because of these dang flying enemies. They just have so much health, and they're hard to take care of, and they damage the crystal. And the ogre did spawn, but I just couldn't kill it in time. And honestly, the sleepy octopod I don't think is any good. So I just went ahead and spawned Skeletron Prime. Now Skeletron Prime does hit me quite hard off rip. The movement with the black spot against Skeletron Prime isn't amazing, I will admit. But once I got the rhythm of it, the black spot wasn't doing too bad. I could maintain my distance quite a bit. I think if I just get too far, he'll fling himself at me, and I can't really dodge it quickly with any quick movements because the black spot isn't really known for its acceleration. Very slow turning speeds, which is the big downside to it. But yeah, I'm just keeping my distance with the Shadow Flame Knife, chipping it away. Not much else to say. It was going pretty well. It was honestly pretty boring fight. I mean, I was just circling around it, holding left click on it, and whittling it down. The Shadow Flame Knife is not a very exciting weapon, I'll be honest. It's consistent, but it's not fun. It's not exciting. It's like I'm playing Ranger. Ew, yuck. Who enjoys playing Ranger? It's boring as hell. But yeah, anyway, no surprises. Skeletron Prime defeated with a discount card on. Oops. I mean, Cross Necklace just makes that fight a joke. I'm gonna be real. After farming a bunch of life fruits and chlorophyte, finally maxing out my health, shimmering a life fruit to get the Aegis fruit, and getting 3 turtle shells to make a full set of turtle armor. I fought the Wall of Flesh a couple times to upgrade the gauntlets, like the fire gauntlet, and then a mechanical gauntlet as well. And I then bombed an arena for Plantera. And this time, chat, I'm not even going to use an Osagoth tunnel. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, but this time with a black spot. First phase Plantera is super simple. I mean, I tried using the hallowed jousting lance against her, did not work. Went straight back to the Shadow Flame Knife, just circling around her, no problems at all. And now she's in second phase, darting herself at me. It's been so long since I've done this fight without an Osagoth tunnel. I don't even know what to do. The tentacles were flying around, occasionally hitting me, but I was dodging to my best ability, weaving through with the black spot, even though it has pretty terrible movement. And while I did lose like half my health, the fight was completely fine, and the plant monstrosity has been felled. Just like that. Don't even need an Osagoth tunnel. That's for all the Osagoth tunnel haters. I then went and looted the lizard temple, but we're not gonna fight the golem yet. I'm gonna spawn in the solar eclipse. And I did manage to get a Neptune's shell, but no moonstone. And part of the reason I was doing this was to do it in the crimson biome, just to have an event that's spawning a lot of enemies and hopefully get the crimson key. So I decided to fight the king slime a bunch of times in the crimson, but that didn't work, so I spawned in another solar eclipse, clearing as many enemies as I could, hoping that a crimson key will drop, but I didn't end up getting it. I did get a moonstone though. And then, while clearing out some regular enemies, a crimson slime ends up dropping it. Let's go! Now, I know in my red weapons only, I use the vampire knives, and I didn't want to use it in another playthrough again. In hindsight, I really wanted to use the Scourge of the Corruptor instead. I'm kind of bored of this weapon, but it was too late. I already chose a Crimson World, and corruption chests don't spawn. I mean, this weapon is good. It has life steal. Obviously, its damage isn't amazing, but the life steal aspect of it is just goated, man. It makes you practically unkillable. And while I was here, I farmed the post-Plantera dungeon, getting Ectoplasm, Tabby, and eventually a black belt. And I managed to get a Shadow Jousting Lance from a giant cursed skull, which will be absolutely fantastic for our arsenal. And now I want to upgrade my infinite flight mount, so I'm doing the Pumpkin Moon, baby. Now my damage for this sucks. I mean, I'm using vampire knives. It's not working very well. So I'm just chugging away, killing the Morningwood very slowly. When a pumpkin spawns, I mean, I am able to kill it. It just takes forever, but I don't even get what I wanted in the end. This time I put the Shadow Jousting Lance to use, using minecart momentum to absolutely shred the Morning Wood. The only problem was I was dying pretty quickly, but I mean, that's why I have the Vampire Knives, and it didn't take too long to get the Witch's Broom. That's all I could have wanted from the Pumpkin Moon, so let this be over, whatever. And now it's time for the Golem. Everyone knows this is the hardest boss fight. This is gonna be really tough, guys. The strategy I had for this fight, guys, you're never gonna believe it. It's insane. So what I did was I pressed E on the ground and I held left click and I aimed my cursor up, and that's it. I mean, I used my Vampire Knives for the lifesteal, stood there with my grapple on the floor so I didn't take any knockback, and out-healed the damage the Golem was doing because of the cross necklace. I wasn't even buffed. I could beat this boss without even moving. But you know, there's a big Golem problem. Like, I don't want them to make the Golem harder because his loot pool sucks, and I don't want to have to grind a hard Golem to get the item I want. One way I think they could fix it: rework the Golem fight. Make it harder. Make it so I can't just sit there shooting my Vampire Knives and out-heal the Golem, but allow the items in the Golem's loot pool to be shimmered. His loot pool's too big. I don't want to do this fight 100,000 times because they did buff him recently and it's just made it harder to grind him. And I actually got 3 Sunstones in a row. Usually I'm dying for this item, but now it's just trolling me, bro. Eventually I started cheesing it with a Shadow Jousting Lance and minecart momentum. It was shredding him. It made this a lot quicker, and I did end up getting 2 Eye of the Golems from that. And now I can make beetle armor, and I can make the celestial shell. I then went over to the Hallowed and collected some prismatic lace wings. That can only mean one thing: I'm gonna fight the Empress of Light, chat. I mean, this fight is trivial. I'm just throwing my Vampire Knives, and I mean, the damage is mild. It's not great, but if I do on the rare occasion get hit, I can just leech that life back up. Not that I get hit much at all. This fight is really simple, really easy. I can beat it easily without lifesteal, but this is actually the best damaging weapon I have. Not even using it for the lifesteal, I'm using it for the damage in this fight. So yeah, I really wish I had the Scourge of Corruptor, but this is what I got. And from the first Empress of Light treasure bag, I get the Starlight. That is exactly the weapon I was looking for. This one I've used in my true melee playthrough, and it's a really good weapon. Like, it just annihilates through everything. And this is one of the only weapons in the whole playthrough that can be reforged to legendary. And then I farmed the Empress of Light a couple more times trying to get the wings, but to no avail. I then fight the Old One's army, this time with a Starlight, so I can do it this time. Betsy spawns in, and this is actually pretty hard. Beating Betsy with the Starlight, I mean, Betsy moves really quickly. Getting close to her is not easy. But I do have the Vampire Knives to heal. I just need to make sure my crystal isn't breaking. The crystal does break, but Betsy is so close to death, and I do manage to just barely kill her in time. And I get the Sky Dragon's Fury from Betsy first try. This is a melee other weapon, and I can use it, but the Sky Dragon's Fury is a pretty cool weapon. The left click I'm not going to use much. It's very close range, but the right click shoots out these projectiles at a nice range with lingering attacks like the Electrosphere launcher. It's pretty awesome. I then tried the Old One's army again because I want Betsy wings, and I failed. And I tried it again, and I literally just barely didn't beat Betsy in time. She just disappeared. So I moved on. I went straight to Duke Fishron. I was actually fighting Duke Fishron on the Witch's Broom. I don't normally use the Witch's Broom for Duke Fishron. It's not great against him. It's very limited movement, but I was making it work. It was working. And Starlight does consistently big damage to Duke Fishron, tearing him down. But eventually I switched over to the Sky Dragon's Fury. Once he's in 3rd phase, I'm just aiming it towards him and keeping my distance as best as possible. The damage isn't great, I'll be real, but we do manage to just squeeze out a win at the end. But no wings, so I fight it again, no wings. Fight it again, no wings. We fight the Empress again, no wings. And again, no wings. And again, no wings. And again, and I get the freaking Stellar Toon again. Sorry, Throbbin, I just can't stop getting this item. I fight Duke Fishron again, no wings. I fight Betsy again, no kill. Empress again, no wings. 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 I got to the point where I was just done trying to find wings, and I fought the Lunatic Cultist. Now, I was absolutely tearing him apart with the Starlight, and then a Solar Eclipse decides to jump me, so I have vampires fighting me mid-fight, and I take some huge damage from the Ancient Light. I do get some lifesteal off with the Vampire Knives, but the Prophecy's End kills me. So while it's a Solar Eclipse, why not fight the Old One's army? I do just manage to kill Betsy, no wings. And after a couple more Empress fights, I finally got the Empress wings. The wing grind is over, and I never have to look for wings again this playthrough. So we fight the lunatic cultist again. This time it's going much smoother. The starlight is straight up destroying him. Like, the damage is freaking crazy. It's over 4,000 damage per second. I mean, what do you expect? The starlight is cracked. Now the pillars are invading. I start off with the Stardust pillars, wiping it out with no problems. The Sky Dragon's Fury is really good for crowd control. I then go over to the Solar pillar because there are some weapons I can actually get from this. I clear that out and make the Daybreak and Solar Eruption. Now the Solar Eruption is not great for single target, but it's good for multi-target, and Daybreak is the opposite. So they're both useful. These are like the ultimate pre-Moonlord melee weapons. They're really good. And with the Solar Eruption, I easily cleared the Vortex pillar. And then for the Nebula pillar, it was a bit harder. I used a whole wide array of weapons. I used the Starlight, Vampire Knives to heal up, Sky Dragon's Fury, Daybreak, Solar Eruption. I was using it all. I did clear out the Nebula pillar, but I died before I could teleport home, leaving me not much time to prepare for the Moonlord. But I turned on auto pause just to make sure I prepared enough. And before the Moonlord spawned in, I spammed my Daybreaks to make sure that the falling Daybreaks would land on the eye, doing maximum damage to the top eye. Once the eye was closed, I moved over to the left hand, dishing out damage. I did switch over to the Starlight just to deal those huge amounts of damage that the Daybreak wishes it could do. It's really fast, consistent damage. I mean, I have to get close though, which is the downside, but it's just crazy. Top eye opens again, doing some big damage with the Starlight. It's under half health now. I keep hitting the left and right eye, switch over to the top eye once it's open. Once again, it's super low now. We're getting really close here. Beetle armor and all my accessories, keeping my survivability up. Daybreak, if I need the distance, it's doing respectable damage. The good thing about the Daybreak is it explodes when the Moonlord's eyes shut, which does extra damage to those eyes. The top eye is now out of the socket. Soon after that, the left eye and then the right eye. And now it's just the core. And this is just home stretch. I mean, come on. We can use the Daybreak at a range, keep at a distance with our wings and soaring insignia. We've done this a million times before. It's super easy. It's losing health really quickly. We're doing about 3,000 damage per second. Towards the end, I go in with the Solar Eruption, finishing him off, claiming us the victors of Terraria. Melee other weapons only. And now we got an epic Celestial Starboard. Now I have obtained every melee other weapon besides the Arcalus. I didn't get that since that's a dev weapon drop. I didn't want to farm for that at all. But there is one final melee other weapon that I can use, and it's the Zenith. So I made a copper short sword. I had the enchanted sword for it already, and I went on a big quest obtaining all the swords that I needed to make the Zenith. And while looking for the Seedler, I actually got the axe. I made the Knight's Edge, True Knight's Edge, True Excalibur, into the Terror Blade, farmed for the Influx Waver, and then of course the Horseman's Blade. And now I need to fight the Moonlord a bunch of times for the final 2 swords. And finally, once I got the Meow Meow, I can't even use it to beat the Moonlord because it's not a melee other weapon. And finally, we got the Star Wrath, which allows us to make the Zenith. I don't even know why I did all that. I just wanted to make the final melee other weapon. I reforged it to Legendary and just teared apart the Moonlord, making the Moonlord look like a walk in the park. And to finish off the playthrough, I just did the Frost Moon, destroying all of the enemies here, clearing the waves like they're nothing. I mean, the Zenith is just a fun weapon, man. It just destroys everything. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button. If you're wondering about Ranger other, that's probably not gonna happen because I basically already did that playthrough with no guns or bows. If you go way back to one of my first Terraria challenges, yeah, I basically already did it on Master Mode. So probably not gonna do that one, and there is no summoner other weapons. So yeah, that ends the saga of the other playthroughs. Check out the socials down below. I'm trying to get some more Twitter followers, and also become a member. Just click the subscribe button if you're already subscribed. It's pretty cheap and it helps out the channel. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys next time.